Straight Life by Art and Lori Pepper. Here's a new episode of Straight Life. This one is part of a chapter called the Los Angeles County Jail, The Hole, and this is pages 266 to 269, and it's the end of that chapter. In the previous episode, Art got high with his friends, and he was put in the hole. This episode is called Justice. Here's Art's narrative. At my arraignment, my bail had been set at $100,000. The DA's office gave a speech. They said I was involved in a huge network of dope dealers, and I was dealing to Hollywood and the Near Valley. I was reputed to be a big gangster in a narcotics ring. The people I was scoring from were big people, but I was just buying from them. I wasn't dealing at all at the time. The judge finally said, "What was found on the suspect?" They said, "Oh, that's inconsequential. That has no bearing on the case." The judge said, "How much was it?" And the guy said, 2/4 ounces, a half ounce total. They recommended that bail be set at $100,000 because they didn't want me to get out and inform the rest of the gang. They said they had things in the works. Everything was set up. They had people under surveillance. The judge went along with them and put me back in jail. When I went to my preliminary hearing, the judge said to the DA, "Well, where's this gang and all the things you were going to tie in?" He realized that it was all bullshit, but he wouldn't lower the bail to $1,500, which is what the public defender asked for. He put it to $5,000, and I still couldn't get out. I got a hold of Les Koenig. I think I had my dad go see him. Les was interested in having me make an album, and for that, I usually got about $500 in front. Ann Christos and this chick from the Lighthouse put up a couple of hundred as a deposit, and Les called the bondsman and assured him of the rest, and I got out on bail. I went down to the studio with a horn I'd borrowed from a student, a Martin with a good sound. That was Intensity with Dolo Coker and Jimmy Bond. And that was the last album Les had that I did, so he kept it. This was in 1960, and he didn't release it until 1963. My dad wanted me to have a lawyer. I said no. I told him, "I don't have a chance in the world." He said, "I still want you to have a good lawyer." He had already paid out all the money he'd saved. So the only way he could get a lawyer was to put another mortgage on his home in Long Beach. And he did that. The lawyer came and talked to me. He told my folks that he'd talk to the police, and if I'd get on the stand and sign a paper against Frank Ortiz, they'd cut me loose. They'd drop the charges. My dad had gone through all this. I had told him it was useless. And then the lawyer presented us with this solution. My stepmother and my mother just wanted me to be safe. They didn't know anything, so I didn't care. Didn't even want to know what they thought. Diane said, "Oh man, those guys wouldn't do anything for you. They don't care about you. Turn over on them. Later for them." She'd gotten out of this nut house, Norwalk, where she'd been. My dad didn't say a word. He was waiting to see what I'd do. I looked at this lawyer and I said, "Man, are you kidding? We're paying you all this fucking money for advice like that? I could have done that in the beginning if I'd wanted to. I'm not a rat." I cussed him out and ranked him, and my dad was sitting there, and I glanced at him, and he was just beaming. He was so proud of me. The lawyer said, "Well, if that's the way you want to be, there's nothing I can do. Maybe I can get you on an N-number program." They had just started a special program for people who were convicted of using drugs or of possession. Rather than give them an A number, an adult prison number, and send them to a regular state prison, they give them an N number, a narcotics number, and send them to a special narcotics prison. David Arbedian and I had the same background, the same kind of record. We were in Fort Worth together. He'd gotten busted recently on possession, just like me. And he got out on bail, like I did. He got busted again on possession while he was out. I didn't. And David didn't have a work record. He worked for his dad occasionally. I had a good work record for years with my music. So I figured that if anybody would be acceptable to the N number program, it would be me. I had no crimes on my record. David had been picked up for burglaries, suspicions of robberies. But he got on the program. He didn't turn over on anybody. He just was accepted as an N number. I wasn't, because they said I was a hardened criminal. I was beyond rehabilitation. There was no hope for me. And the program was only for young people that could be saved. So I wound up doing 4.5 years. David did 8 months. That's justice. I got sentenced to 2 to 20 years in a state prison, and I waited for the chain. You go back to the tank, and you wait 2, 3, 4 weeks. Then they call out your name and take you to Chino, which is a guidance center in Chino, California. At Chino, they run you through all kinds of physical and mental tests. At that time, they were checking your skull, the width of it, and the width of your eye slits, and where they were placed, and the width of the strands of your hair, because they believed that criminals' noses went off to one side, and they thought they could tell something by the formation of your facial features. At the guidance center, they determine where to send you. They can leave you in Chino proper, where you get nice visits with picnic lunches. They can send you to a camp. They can send you to Soledad, which was a vocational type place. They can send you to CMC, California Men's Colony. They can send you to Vacaville, a medical type prison. Or else they can send you to San Quentin or Folsom. Folsom is for the real old guys that are hopeless, completely hopeless. Quentin is for the ones that are too violent to go to any other prison. People that have been busted several times for things like robbery with violence and murder. And where do you think they sent me? To San Quentin? Your name comes out on a list. They post lists for all the different prisons. I saw my name under San Quentin and I couldn't believe it. Everybody had told me, oh man, they'll just take you across the street to Chino. You'll have visits with your family. You wear your own clothes on the weekend, nice shoes. And they sent me to San Quentin. Not only was I not eligible for the N number program, I was also not eligible for Chino or Soledad or Vacaville or camp. Probably if I'd been older, they would have sent me to Folsom, which is the graveyard. So that was the treatment I received. And as I look back and try to figure out why this happened, I remember Sergeant Sanchez, and I remember his words. Before we're through with you, if you're able to think or reflect, you'll just continually regret the fact that you wouldn't cop out on these people and cooperate with us.